brain is that we still have the remnants of the reptilian brain, that amygdala, right? When a lizard comes into a room, what does it look for? A mate, food, and danger. And that's what we have right now. And that's why the news that you read, that you see every day on TV is always negative. Because negative news sells, but the positive stuff doesn't actually go through. If you actually look at the crime rate, number of people being murdered, and so on, it has dropped dramatically. And and a lot of it is due to technology, and I'll explain more about it. So we are programmed to think linearly. Sorry, this I'm not sure why the display is kind of screwed up in the presentation. Our brain is kind of programmed to think linearly. So what does that mean? So if I say that you walk a meter a step, in 30 steps you would be 30 meters away. But the problem is that the technology is moving at an exponential rate. What does that mean? It's doubling. So let's say if I say you double your step every time you take a step forward. So a meter, 2 meters, 4 meters, 8 meters, 16 and so on. In 30 steps, how far do you think you have gone? You would have gone 26 times around the Earth. Right? So a billion meters. And that's how fast technology is moving. And that's why our brain can't comprehend that. So at Singularity, every year we select 80 people from 35 countries to go to NASA, and we train them all in all the latest, what we term is exponential technology, like nanotechnology, 3D printing, genomics, proteomics, and so forth. And then in the final 3 to 5 weeks, you have to work with your fellow classmates to work on a project in one of these areas: education, energy, environment, food, global health, and try and solve them. So I was lucky enough to be the first lieutenant in the program back in 2011. And it's amazing what you can actually do with technology nowadays. See, one of the reasons why Singularity was formed is that anything that you learn from the university is at least 3.5 years behind. It takes that long to get it accredited. And the problem I just showed you, right? Technology is moving at such a fast rate. Because it takes 3 years or so to get the university to approve the accredited program, and things are changing so fast. And there's so much new technology coming out, but unfortunately you probably need a PhD yourself to understand another person's PhD. So at Singularity, what we're trying to do is essentially bring those technology to innovators like yourself, entrepreneurs like yourself, can make use of the technology. Because we can always give you the expert. To us, an expert is someone that tells you what cannot be done. So this is actually similar to what's now known as the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. This was agreed to last year by all 192 countries. I was at the UN last year because now they have something called the Global Summit Awards, like Oscars for each of these areas: no poverty, zero hunger. So this is mirroring what Singularity has been trying to do the last 9 years. This is actually excellent. So for those of you in your businesses, try and see whether you can align your goals with one of this, because there's a lot of support globally for programs that actually meet some of these goals. So yeah, this is the Nova Summit. It was organized by one of the Singularity alumni called the Nova Summit. It's held every year now in July, and they will give out an award anywhere in the world. So you can nominate yourself if you think your company is actually working on a project that meets one of those goals. So what's happening in the world right now? I mean, since the Industrial Revolution, things have been growing exponentially. The funny thing about exponential curve is that it starts very small, right? Like 0.1. When you double it, what's it? 0.2, then it's 0.4. It's still below 1. So we all fall into this deception, right? That, well, this technology is not going to come through, it's going to take forever. But the moment you hit 1, it escalates exponentially. And like I said, within 30 steps, it would be a billion, right? So it's a great opportunity for those of us living in this time right now, because you actually have a chance to kind of spot where the trends are going and then go for it. At the moment, the other trend is that we have about 3.25 billion people on the internet right now. By 2020, there'll be 5 billion. These are your future potential partners, investors, customers, collaborators. This is the amazing thing about the internet, right? It basically level the playing field and connect us with a market that we never could have basically imagined. And obviously, by less than 10 years, we would have about 50 billion things, Internet of Things, connected to the internet. Your fridge, your toilet. I mean, they're talking about smart toilets now that when you do your stuff, you will analyze and actually tell you medically what you require to eat, or you know, whether you're what point of health you are in. Everybody knows about how computers double every 18 months or Moore's law, right? So it becomes faster every 18 months, becomes smaller, you know, the capacity becomes larger, the hard drive becomes larger. But very few of us actually know that the cost of sequencing your genes has fallen faster than Moore's law. You know, sequencing your gene, you know, basically costs about $100 million, you know, in 2001. Today, it's down to less than 1,000, probably down to 500. And by 2020, we should be able to flush the toilet and sequence your genes. Why is that important? Because a lot of the medical issues we have today, we don't really understand. You know, like cancer, for example. We have, I think, breast cancer, there are about 2,000 over different types of breast cancer, but we only have 55 cancer drugs to treat all kinds of cancers. And what people are doing now is sequencing the cancer cells to try to identify the problem and try to turn it off. If you go to my blog, drc10.com, there's an article from a doctor in, I think it's in New York. It's the New York Times. He was an expert in leukemia. And he himself suffered from stage 4 leukemia. He was trying to sequence the genes of the cancer cells so he can see whether he can turn off one of those genes and whether he can actually solve the problem. He only had 3 months to live. So his colleague sequenced his genes first and tried on him. And guess what? He survived, and he actually lived to talk about it, and it reversed within 3 months. So the technology is coming. But you need to have technology like this, sequencing your genes to do that. So why is this important? Right now, most of the pharmaceutical companies that you know, they have a program called drug discovery. Notice the word drug discovery, not drug development, like in software development, since it's an IT group. Why do you think that's the case? Because they have no idea actually how the drugs work. To give you an example, sildenafil, right? Viagra. It was actually a blood pressure medication. It was given out to males and females to try it out. While they were doing the trials, then the pharmaceutical economists calculated that it wasn't worthwhile going to the market. There was too many competition in blood pressure medication. So they forget about it, canceled the trials. All the women gave it back, none of the men did. And then they found out that sildenafil Viagra, you know, it's a new market, ED, right? Erectile dysfunction. So I'm just trying to show you basically that they don't actually have any idea, you know, how a lot of these medications work on us. And the drugs that you and I take are tested on a small population, mainly in the developing world. I'm sorry, in the developed world, in the Western world. And then everybody's prescribed the same dosage. And you and I may have genetic material that actually acts adversely to it, like virus, right? If you sequence the genes, you would have known that, you know, basically, maybe you shouldn't be taking this particular drug. So that's a whole new field now called pharmacogenomics, where medication is prescribed to you based on your genetic makeup. So this is coming. Another area is epigenetics. We don't have time to talk about it, but epigenetics is the same thing, how the environment affects you. So one of the things I'll talk about is, I'm kind of passionate about is healthcare, right? We all talk about healthcare. But do we really have a healthcare system right now? We have a sick care system, right? Nobody makes money if you're healthy in the health industry. Think about it. It's only when you're sick everybody makes money. So the goals are not congruent, right? So one of the things that I've been passionate about, and one of the things I learned at Singularity, was the Chinese village doctor model. Don't know whether you guys heard about this. In the ancient days in China, if you were a doctor in the village, you get paid every morning by everybody in the village if you're not sick. If you are sick, you don't pay. Right? And it's in the doctor's interest to make sure that you don't die. It's like, hey, please don't die on me. If you die on me, I'm not going to get paid. Right? So that's why we need to reverse the system. And your Medicare system actually is supposed to work that way, right? Medibank. But since Medibank was listed, I'm a Medibank member, right? It used to be that any profits they make comes back to the members. But today what happens? Right? They answer the shareholders. Right? So they don't care about the members. So that's the thing that we need to change, right? In terms of, and we might be able to use the technology and all. I might mention a little bit about it. This is my classmate, Pablo Solomon from Uruguay. We're having a split party. We're splitting into a test tube. It's a 23andMe test we did in 2011. Those days we were allowed to get all our medical results. Today the FDA said look, you guys are not smart enough to understand your medical condition. You have to see a professional to get the information, so we're not going to release it to you anymore. But I still get access to my information. So you spit into this test tube, goes to 23andMe. Within 6 weeks, you get an email, you log in, and you essentially get your medical results and so forth. So I did it in 2011, and I will share my data with you. So you can see your health traits, your ancestry, and so forth. I got to warn you though, a lot of people that did this test ended up in divorce. Suddenly they find out their mother is not their mother, their father is not their kid. Just a warning for you guys. So anyway, what's interesting was my results. So I have a higher risk of atrial fibrillation of the heart, right, than most people. Also a higher risk of age-related macular degeneration of the eye. So I know I should go for a more frequent eye checkup. Other things is like, you know how most Asians, when they drink alcohol, they turn red? Well, I don't have the gene. See, I'm not red. And then, like platelets, have reduced, how the drug medication has effect on me. My doctors don't actually, I should give my GP that, like, oh, don't worry about it. I think it's really important that, the medication that I take has very little effect on me. So this is my medical data. But I'll show you what's really interesting. So my parents are here sitting at the back right now. So being a male, I have the X and the Y chromosome. So I can see where my ancestry comes from. So my grandfather from my father's side is from a small little island called Hainan Island off the coast of China. And as you can see, not too interesting here, right? All the way from Siberia down to maybe the Maoris in New Zealand, kind of related. But it's all around the Asian side. But my mom's side of the family, which is from Fuzhou, which is the southern part province of China. Look, I'm highly correlated to the Native American Indians, the Mayans, the Incans, the Apaches, maybe. So I did this talk at the Health and Medical Conference a number of years ago. And I said, I will go to the US, open a casino, and basically, take some Indian reservation land, right? So, Chinese love to gamble, and I have got genetic proof that I'm actually related to American Indians. So you guys could call me Cheesy Think Hen. The other thing of 3D printing, right? There's the other interesting things happening. Do you guys all kind of familiar with what 3D printing is all about? Yeah, it's a bit different from your current manufacturing, right? Current manufacturing is what's known as subtractive manufacturing, right? What happens is you take a block of wood or a block of metal and you cut it off and you sculpture whatever you need to make out of it. It's a lot of wastage. While 3D printing is what's known as additive manufacturing. So you're actually adding layer by layer, creating it. So right now you can 3D print over 100 materials. My favorite is chocolate. And you can even 3D, this is a 3D printed version of me in Singularity. Everything is 3D printed here, even the ear. So in the very, very near future, you might even be able to 3D print your heart. And they're using stem cells and so on. But what's really interesting was this, at Singularity I found like they took the MRI data of a person with a tumor in his trachea, and they could 3D print it. The doctor can actually show it to a patient and have a look at it. And you can actually, better study it and so forth. And a company from Singularity that was spun off. So we basically have about 40 companies now in Singularity that was spun off from these projects that come out over the last almost 9 years. So this is made in space. They are the first 3D printer on the space station. If you guys read about, I think a year and a half ago, when it was in the space station, they made the first tool in space by 3D printing it. I think one of the astronauts needed a spanner or a screwdriver. And you know what it costs to send an Australia Post to the space station to get there? Essentially, they could 3D print it and it actually worked. And this is actually very revolutionary. Think about it. If you're going to colonize space, if you're going to go out to space and build equipment, this is the first step towards it. The beautiful thing about a 3D printer is that one 3D printer can make another 3D printer. At the moment, about 80% of the components can be 3D printed. The metal parts and so on, the electronics, obviously you still need it. But if you give it to a village, right, they can make two can make four, you grow exponentially. And this is a revolutionary technology that's coming. What's even more revolutionary is nanotechnology, which is a bit further away. And if you watch Star Trek, the replicator, so if I want to turn my laptop into a car, I could remove all the molecules and reassemble them. It sounds far-fetched, but they've already done it. I mean, they've done small versions of it. And I'll talk more about that. And if you're interested, you can read a book by Eric Drexler, the guy who actually coined the word nanotechnology back in 1986 or 88, I think. He wrote a book called The Engines of Creation. He said a cow was nothing more than a machine that converts water and grass into steak. It's just moving molecules. So I'll talk a bit about the company Singularity has is doing exactly that. So I wrote a book actually. My area of expertise was in neural networks. This is before they became popular. This is like 20 years ago. In neural network applications in finance. So I'll just talk a little bit about AI. You guys heard of IBM Watson? Yeah, so IBM Watson was an AI program in 2013, 2011. It defeated human contestants in the game of Jeopardy.